The Labour government attempted yesterday to revoke our licence to cause violence on the streets of our capital city. They don't care about us.
Keir Starmer faces heated questions in Parliament over Tommy Robinson protest. You're not going to believe what just happened inside Parliament. Keir Starmer, usually known for his calm, composed manner, found himself under fire. And not from outside critics this time, but from MPs right across the chamber. The subject: the growing protests linked to Tommy Robinson. The moment the questions landed, the atmosphere shifted, and suddenly, Starmer wasn't just delivering talking points, he was fighting to hold the room together. This wasn't politics as usual. This was tense, unpredictable, and explosive. Here's what happened. During a heated parliamentary session, Starmer was pressed directly about how the government, and by extension his leadership, should respond to the protests Robinson has been linked to. Opposition MPs seized the chance to push him hard, framing the issue as one of credibility and authority. The first question came from the Conservative benches, blunt and unapologetic. Prime Minister, what exactly is your stance when protests linked to extremist rhetoric threaten public order? Do you take Robinson's influence seriously, or do you dismiss it as background noise? Starmer, visibly tensing, shot back with carefully chosen words. He condemned extremism in all forms, insisted that Britain's democracy is strong enough to handle division, and stressed that the rule of law would always prevail. But the chamber wasn't satisfied. Within minutes, Labour's opponents and even a few MPs sitting quietly on the sidelines piled in with more. And the pressure cooker boiled over. Now, let's take a step back. Keir Starmer has built his brand on being the steady hand in turbulent waters. He's not flashy. He's not a populist. He's measured, deliberate, and deeply legalistic in his style. But that also makes him vulnerable in moments like this, moments where the public craves passion, certainty, and a strong show of leadership. And when Tommy Robinson's name entered the conversation, everything intensified. Because Robinson isn't just another activist. He's a lightning rod. For some, he represents defiance against a political class they see as out of touch. For others, he embodies the kind of rhetoric that divides communities and weakens trust in institutions. So when Starmer was asked directly live, in Parliament, how he plans to address this, the weight of that question went far beyond just one man. It was about Britain's identity, its stability, and its future direction. The reactions were immediate, both inside and outside Parliament. One MP from the Liberal Democrats muttered to reporters in the lobby afterwards, "Starmer looked cornered." He tried to stay calm, but the anger in the room was palpable. Meanwhile, a Conservative backbencher posted online, "The Prime Minister is avoiding the real issue. People are frustrated, and he refuses to acknowledge why." But Labour MPs came to his defence. One of Starmer's allies said, "This was a deliberate ambush. He made it clear there's no place for division in Britain. That's leadership, even if others want drama." Social media, as always, erupted in real time. One comment read, "Finally, Parliament is asking the real questions. Starmer can't keep dodging." Another shot back, "This is just an attempt to drag him down. At least he's keeping a cool head while others shout." Two sides, one story, and a country caught in the middle. But here's the bigger picture. Britain has been wrestling with rising public anger. Economic pressures, cost of living challenges, and political distrust have created fertile ground for protest movements. When figures like Tommy Robinson enter that space, they don't just draw small crowds, they create spectacles that the media can't resist, and that politicians can't ignore. That's why this parliamentary showdown matters. Starmer wasn't just defending himself from criticism. He was being tested. Can he confront the rising voices of populism head-on, without alienating the very voters he needs to win over? It's a balancing act that every leader in the modern age struggles with. Go too hard, and you risk giving your opponents more attention. Go too soft, and you look weak. Let's not forget Starmer has faced pressure before. During Brexit debates, during strikes, during the pandemic fallout. But this time felt different. This was about emotion, identity, and power in the streets, not just policy in the chamber. And as he raised his voice more forcefully than usual, you could hear the frustration breaking through. He declared, "Britain is stronger than this. We will not be divided by those who thrive on anger. We will not be pushed off course by protests that seek to undermine democracy. This country belongs to all of us, and no one has the right to tear it apart. Those words drew loud applause from his own MPs. But from across the chamber? Heckles, laughter, even shouts. The divide was on full display. One senior journalist later wrote, "For a man who prides himself on calm, Starmer finally snapped." And in doing so, he revealed just how fragile the political landscape really is. Fragile, because every time Robinson's name is raised, it sparks not just debate but confrontation. Fragile, because public frustration is spilling over faster than politicians can contain it. And fragile, because Britain is heading into an election season where every misstep, every raised voice, every tense exchange will be amplified 100 times over. So where does this leave us? For Starmer, it's a warning. He cannot rely solely on measured answers when the nation demands clarity and conviction. For Parliament, it's a reminder that the issues of division are not going away. And for the public, it's proof that Britain's leaders are still wrestling with how to handle the rise of figures and movements that challenge the very fabric of political stability. The crowd outside may be shouting. The MPs inside may be clashing. But the real question is this. If Robinson-linked protests grow larger, will Starmer harden his stance or try to defuse the anger? If Parliament keeps pressing him on it, will his temper flare again? And if this is just the beginning, how deep will the cracks in Britain's politics run? Because one thing is clear. That moment in Parliament wasn't just noise. It was a sign. A sign that Britain's leaders are walking a very thin line. And that one raised voice in the wrong moment could change everything.